think we're close enough. We'll go ahead and call tonight's planning commission to order. Start with our agenda and minutes from last month. Agenda for tonight and minutes from last month.
Make a motion to approve the minutes and agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
First order of business, North Shore Waste, 2025-6 CUP. One thing, to the board, there's a potential I may be the contractor that might install the grouter work on this. If you're comfortable with me continuing to chair or not, and I don't need to vote or anything, or if you'd like me to step
You
down
don't
for
have a
this.
current contract?
No.
I don't have any issues.
I'm fine. Yeah.
Seeing nods from everyone, so we'll continue. Nita.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request for a conditional use permit submitted by North Shore Waste and Dustin Hanson, who's present tonight, on land that's owned by Cook County. It's a conditional use permit for a permit by rule transfer station for municipal solid waste, recyclable materials, and demolition waste at 198 Sawbill Trail in Tofty. The property includes 10.19 acres and is entirely within the FAR 3 zone district. This use is listed as a conditional use under section 10.03B3 of the Cook County zoning ordinance, and it's not zoned shoreland, so non-shoreland. This request is brought forth by North Shore Waste to update, expand, and operate a permit by rule transfer station on county-owned land that currently hosts the Tofty Transfer Station. This is a component of the hub and spoke model North Shore Waste is building out to provide solid waste services in Cook County. The site will accept municipal solid waste, recyclable materials, and demolition materials, which will then be transferred to the Grand Marais Transfer Facility to be processed for transport outside of Cook County. The operation will include outdoor dumpsters, roll-offs, and recycling containers. The site will also have an office for staff and guests and operate 3 days a week in the summer and 2 days per week in the winter. The layout of the site will include a gravel parking lot just less than 1 acre in size with an 8-foot-high chain link fence and gated entrance with access off the Sawbill Trail. For zoning considerations, the project site is in the FAR 3 zone district, and the principal purpose of that zone district is to provide for permanent and seasonal areas at a medium density. Farming and other rural activities are also allowed. The Cook County zoning ordinance does identify as a conditional use in any zone district to include landfill and solid waste canister sites may be considered for a conditional use. So this is being considered under that provision outlined in the Cook County zoning ordinance. For background, the property is owned by Cook County. The existing transfer station has been in place for decades but does not currently have a conditional use permit. With increased use and ongoing development under North Shore Waste operations, obtaining a conditional use permit will provide a formal framework to guide and support their activities moving forward. Permit by rule transfer stations are regulated by the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. In addition to the Cook County conditional use permit, stormwater permits, and land use permits for structures, the operator will also need to work with the MPCA to ensure full compliance for this type of solid waste facility. For site conditions and considerations, for septic, the transfer station will not create sewage. However, there will be a staff building during operating hours, and the site has had an outhouse for staff that's serviced by G&G Septic. For wetlands, as you see on the map on the screen, Mitch Travis, the Cook County Wetland Specialist, has reviewed the impacts to wetlands on site and determined that the wetland impacts are within the allowable amount using the de minimis exemption, and the exemption letter is enclosed with the staff materials. For slope, the property does not have any steep slopes or bluffs. The activity is anticipated to generate some noise while dumpsters are being emptied or rolled off and switched out. Lighting, the application indicates that the hours of operation are expected to be 3 days per week in the summer and 2 days per week in the winter. Although no hours are specifically stipulated, hours of operation may extend into the evening to offer availability to the public outside of normal working hours, in which case outdoor lighting may be installed in the future. For safe access, the existing access is from the Sawbill Trail and should stay the same, and the application does indicate that odor is anticipated during warmer seasons. For public noticing, the application was legally noticed in the Cook County News Herald on September 12th, 2025. 13 letters of notification were sent to adjacent property owners, as well as county departments in Tofty Township. No written comments were received to Lane Services during the written comment period. For staff considerations for facts and findings, the conditional use permit may be granted upon finding all of the following. Number one, the use conforms to the land use or comprehensive plan of the county. Staff's proposed finding, the proposed transfer station is aligned with providing better solid waste management services to Cook County and the 2023 Northeast Minnesota Regional Solid Waste Management Plan. Number two, the use is compatible with the existing neighborhood. This corridor of the Sawbill Trail includes a mix of commercial type activities, including an auto repair facility, and residential. The activity has been operating in this location for several decades under county operations and is immediately abutting the county highway garage. Number three, the use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement in the surrounding area of uses permitted by right in the zone district. The use is aligned with providing solid waste services to the Tofty area and is next to the highway department garage. Number four, the location and character of the proposed use is considered to be consistent with a desirable pattern of development in the area. Proposed finding, the proposed use will provide a service to the community and is part of the larger hub and spoke model that North Shore Waste plans to utilize more efficient solid waste services throughout the county. For staff recommendations for consideration, the proposed use appears non-problematic with surrounding land use patterns and zoning. The Planning Commission should consider the potential findings listed above and modify or amend or adopt as they determine appropriate after the public hearing for recommendation to the Cook County Board of Commissioners. The following conditions could be considered. Number one, all local, state, and federal regulations must be adhered to, which includes the property must be compliant with septic regulations, property shall comply with state and local stormwater regulations, and all necessary construction permits shall be approved prior to initiation of construction. Number two, any outdoor lighting shall be downcast and directed only to the transfer station area. Number three, the security, fencing, and screening and gates shall be installed in accordance with the conditional use permit application. Number four, the facility shall be staffed when open for business. And number five, the facility shall be open to the public no more than 3 days per week. An increase in days per week will require an amendment to the conditional use permit.
Thank you, Neva. At this point, ask the applicant if they'd like to add anything. If so, state your name and address for the
Fantastic
record.
job explaining it. I
Dustin,
couldn't explain it any better.
we do need your name and address for the
Oh,
record.
sure, yeah, Dustin Hanson, 5774 East Highway 61 in Hoagland.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I really don't have anything to add besides what Neva put together there, so.
All right. At this point, open to the public if anyone wishes to comment on this application. Hearing none, close it to the public and discuss as a board.
I have no concerns.
Likewise. I routinely use this site, and will welcome the improvements, so.
Yeah. They're doing a great job.
Yep.
No concerns, yeah. I think seeing the other location open in Hoagland, it's a great model, and improving this one makes a lot of sense to me, so.
Yeah, they should mirror each other. What you see in Hoagland, exactly what you'll see in Tofty. A little different shape, but.
That, I'd look for a motion.
I would make a motion to add the staff recommendations for consideration.
Staff conditions 1 through 5 as written.
Correct.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none.
Thank you.
Second item, Katie Johnson, 2025-9 IUP. Eva.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is an interim use permit submitted by Katie Johnson. The request is for a 5-year renewal interim use permit to allow a home business operation in the FAR3 zone district on property adjacent to County Road 7. The applicant's property includes 1.89 acres and is a substandard nonconforming lot. The parcel is fully within the FAR3 zone district. Home business use is a listed conditional use in the FAR3 zone district. And shoreline classification, this is non-shoreland. This request is to reissue an interim use permit for an additional 5 years to allow the continuation of the home business on the property. The home business is a mobile tattoo trailer, which is open seasonally from spring to fall for on-site business by appointment only. The initial interim use permit was issued in 2019, and no complaints have been received regarding this use. For zoning considerations, this property is located in a non-shoreland area in the FAR3 zone district. The principal purpose of the FAR3 zone district is to provide for permanent and seasonal areas at medium density, and home business is a listed conditional use in this district. A home business is defined as a commercial or minor industrial business use conducted on the same property on which the owner's home is situated, which may employ no more than 5 persons who are not residents of the owner's home, which is consistent with rural residential lifestyle, and which is established and operated under such conditions that the use may not be a nuisance to or otherwise incompatible with the surrounding area. As an interim use period, it's a temporary use of the property until a particular date, or until the occurrence of the particular event, or until zoning regulations no longer permit it. And I did include citations in your packet from sections 10.01, which outlines requirements for reviewing interim use permits, as well as section 10.05 for general requirements. On the screen, you'll see the FAR3 zone district, which lists out the permitted and conditional uses, which is on page 27 of your packet. And you'll see the home business item 6 under conditional uses. That's the trailer on the property, and that's the property off of County Road 7. The applicant has been the owner of this parcel since 2019. During the 2019 review of this activity, Land Services Department determined this use qualifies as a home business due to the presence of specialized facilities and equipment and commercial aspect with customer business. The purpose of an IUP or a CUP for home business is to review the specific type of business, compatibility, provide the property owner assurance of the allowance of the permitted activity, and to provide for conditions to mitigate potential impacts to the neighboring property owners, depending on the type and use of location. The 2019 interim use permit was issued with 6 conditions, which I included in your packets. The application indicates the only notable change since 2019 is that the applicant's last name has changed from Bissell to Johnson, and Ms. Johnson is now the sole owner of the parcel, and the business is licensed through the state of Minnesota. For site conditions and considerations, the septic environmental health officer provided some comments requiring that the mobile tattoo trailer has wastewater dumped at the rec park and provide quarterly dumping receipts to show it's being disposed of in a safe and secure manner, and that the property be in compliance with septic regulations. For noise, it does not appear that noise or lighting are generated significantly from this use. Safe access exists off the residential driveway along County Road 7. There is parking available on site, and the business, as I said, is licensed through the state. For public noticing, the application was legally noticed in the Cook County News Herald on September 12th. 14 letters of notification were sent to adjacent property owners as well as county departments and the DNR hydrologist. No written comments were received to Land Services during the written comment period. For staff considerations for facts and findings, the use conforms land use or comprehensive plan of the county. I identified the Cook County Land Use Guide Plan has a commercial goal to provide commercial facilities to meet the needs of resident and visitors, which has policy number 44. Home occupations and home businesses are appropriate uses in all zone districts that permit residences. Number 2, the use is compatible with the existing neighborhood. The use is compatible with the existing neighborhood. The property abuts 2 county roads, and the mobile trailer unit does not create a nuisance to neighboring property owners. Number 3, the use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement in the surrounding area of uses permitted by right in the zone district. The 5-year interim use permit with termination upon property transfer provides a time frame for review before reapproval for future use. Number 4, the location and character of the proposed use is considered to be consistent with a desirable pattern of development for the area. The home business has been operating since 2019 and has not generated any complaints in the Land Services Department. For a staff recommendation for consideration, the proposed use appears non-problematic with surrounding land use patterns and zoning. Staff have provided updated conditions that reflect the 2019 conditions of approval with updates to reflect the 2025 review. The Planning Commission should consider the potential findings and conditions and modify, amend, or adopt as they determine appropriate after the public hearing for recommendation of the Cook County Board of Commissioners. The following conditions could be considered. Number 1, all local, state, and federal regulations must be adhered to. Number 2, the property shall be in compliance with state and county septic regulations. The mobile tattoo trailer is required to have wastewater dumped at the Grand Marais Rec Park and provide quarterly dumping receipts to prove it's being disposed of in a safe and secure manner. Number 3, the permit shall be valid for 5 years. Thereafter, a new home business IUP shall be necessary. Sale or transfer of the property shall also invalidate the permit. Number 4, hours of operation shall be limited to 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Number 5, parking must be provided on the property. No parking shall be allowed on County Road 7 or 45. And number 6, any commercial advertisement display shall comply with the Cook County sign ordinance.
Thank you, Neva. Is the applicant or a representative present?
She was not able to make it
Not
tonight.
All right, open to the public. Does anyone here wish to comment on this application? Hearing none, discuss as a board.
I see no problem.
Likewise.
Same.
You know, successfully operating for 5 years, no problems, nothing to, nothing standing in the way of, you know, going forward with this in my mind.
Yep, pretty straightforward to me.
Do we agree with staff's considerations for findings and facts?
Yes.
With that, I'd look for a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve with the conditions set forth by staff.
I'll
6
second.
conditions. Yep.
Got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. All right. Next, Clay and Skyler Johnson, 2025 1RZ. Neva.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is a request submitted by Skyler and Clay Johnson to rezone 44 acres from FAR 1 to FAR 3 on parcel 53-230-1400. The applicant's request to rezone a property off of Pine Mountain Road from FAR 1 to FAR 3. The parcel is undeveloped and was recently transferred from the state of Minnesota to private ownership in a recent land auction. The parcel is currently undeveloped, excuse me, and was recently transferred to private ownership in May of 2025. The property directly abuts privately owned FAR 3 zoning to the south. Public land borders the property to the east and north, zoned FAR 1, while privately owned FAR 1 land lies to the west. Wetlands are located along the south side of Pine Mountain Road, with primarily upland terrain on the north side. Pine Mountain Road is a U.S. Forest Service road, and it is anticipated that future property owners would need to coordinate with the U.S. Forest Service regarding requirements for year-round access. Electric facilities run along Pine Mountain Road and extend through the parcel, while fiber infrastructure is located near the western boundary. Not that slide yet. So the Cook County Land Use Guide Plan. I looked through that to see what principles might help in our review of this request. So I pulled out some relevant sections I felt under general land use and residential. Under general land use, there's a goal that states to have an inventory of land suitable and appropriately located for the anticipated types of land uses compatible with natural resources and proximity to existing infrastructure, and to protect non-compatible land uses from one another. Policies that discuss rezonings under that section include number 5, rezoning of land must consider the existing quantity of land available at the appropriate locations and at the time for the given purpose. And number 12, review of conditional uses and rezonings must evaluate impacts on, but not limited to, relationship to land use plan, benefit to overall community, adjacent use, air and water quality, traffic generation, public safety and health, area aesthetics, and economic impact on area. Under the residential guiding principle, there's a goal to provide a range of residential options with respect to cost, density of development, and locations within the county. And I included several different items that addressed residential uses. And I will save us from reading through all of them, but hopefully you had time to review those before we got here tonight. So the zoning map is on the screen there. You'll see the subject property is a big white box kind of in the center there, with the FAR 3 property to the south and public land further to the east. So with the packets, I provide tables with rezone requests that show a comparison of what each zone district has requirements for. So I begin on page 41 of the packets and starts on your screen also. So the following table shows the different uses and lot size requirements between FAR 1 and FAR 3 zone districts. Generally speaking, a zone change from FAR 1 to FAR 3 will create the potential to have smaller lot sizes with fewer permitted uses. So I don't probably need to read through this whole thing, but I think the trends I'll try to point out to you is that the FAR 1 zone district has a lot more permitted uses. So generally speaking, the FAR 1 zone district that's currently zoned has a 20-acre minimum lot size that generally allows a lot more activities, which includes dog kennels as a permitted use. I always like to point out to prospective FAR 1 property owners so that they're quite aware of those property rights. Whereas the FAR 3 zone district has fewer permitted by right uses, so it's more restrictive. So these landowners are requesting to go from a land use, a zone district where currently by right you can do more louder activities, and this new zone district would have fewer activities by right that usually are a little bit more quieter in nature. Just a total broad statement there. Then under conditional uses, you'll see that there's more conditional uses. It kind of flip-flops, so you have more conditional uses listed under the FAR 3 zone district, the new proposed one. The minimum lot size requirements are definitely the most substantial change between these two zone districts. Again, this is changing proposed from a minimum lot size area of 20 acres to what would be 5-acre minimum lot sizes. And then minimum lot width, currently with FAR 1, it requires 600-foot minimum lot width, and it would propose a change to a 200-foot minimum lot width. And then the last most substantial difference is there's a little bit more relaxed side yard setback in FAR 3. So we can dig into that table if you guys have any questions during the discussion portion. For public noticing, now I'm on page 43. The application was legally noticed in the Cook County News Herald on September 12th. 10 letters of notification were sent to adjacent property owners as well as county departments. We did receive one written comment from Susan Perrin Schubert and Charles Perrin at 319 Pine Mountain Road. They provided comments related to wetland regulations, Pine Mountain Road designation, and utility access considerations. Following up on some of those concerns outlined in that adjacent owners letter, I did follow up with a few entities. With Arrowhead Cooperative, they told me that currently electric utilities run along Pine Mountain Road and extend through the parcel indicated. Additionally, the fiber facilities are located near the western boundary of the property, approximately 1,000 feet from the center of the parcel. If subdivided and new services are applied for with Arrowhead, each parcel would be assessed individually to determine the nearest connection point for each utility, as it could differ significantly based on the proposed build sites. Mitch Travis, the Cook County Wetland Specialist, it appears that most, if not all, of the land north of Pine Mountain Road is upland. However, there's a large alder thicket and coniferous swamp wetland basin on the south side of the road, which makes up approximately 7.5 acres on the southeast quadrant of the property. This should be a consideration for future subdivisions. And for the U.S. Forest Service, I reached out to them to see if there was some form of special designation for the Pine Mountain Road, and they were not aware of any specific scenic designation for the Pine Mountain Road. Just that where the Pine Mountain Road meets the Gunflint Trail, that would probably be something to consider, but that does not apply to this location. For a staff recommendation for consideration, the Cook County zoning map reflects the county's development patterns aligned with the goals and policies of the Cook County's land use guide plan. The proposed zoning map adjustment represents a modification to the existing boundaries between two zone districts that are already in the area. That is to say, we already have FAR 1 and FAR 3 zoning in this location. There is no FAR 2 zoning in this location. So I should have said that a little bit more directly. So there, it's direct. The 44 acres proposed to be rezoned have only been recently transferred from public to private ownership. There it is. I said it directly. There's no FAR 2 zoning in the immediate area. Sorry, I should just read these verbatim. Although the parcel is located on U.S. Forest Service Road, it is in close proximity to a county road. Administrative subdivisions require legal access to each newly created lot, a building site, and 2 identified septic locations for each parcel, new parcel created. 44 acres zoned FAR 1 could potentially create 2 parcels with no less than 20 acres each. 44 acres zoned FAR 3 could potentially create up to 8 parcels with no less than 5 acres each. Due to the presence of wetlands and the maximum of 8 5-acre parcels may not be feasible on this parcel. The applicants cite in their rezone application that much has changed since the zoning districts were established 30 years ago and indicate that this parcel could create more residential parcels closer to town. I did include some proposed findings that are outlined in the Cook County zoning ordinance for criteria for zone district map amendments. So the first question is the proposed zoning consistent with the comprehensive plan or land use plan if adopted by the county? Proposed finding is that the change from FAR 1 to FAR 3 is consistent with the existing zoning districts in the area and is changing the existing boundary between FAR 1 and FAR 3. Number 2, has a mistake been made to the original zoning? And there was no mistake made to the original zoning. Number 3, does there exist a clear public need for the benefit from additional zoning of the type proposed, which shall be above and beyond any benefit or convenience of the landowner? Proposed finding, there is a community need for residential development, and the zone change will allow for that use. Next question, beyond the public need being evident, is there a showing that the public interest would be best served by rezoning the property in question rather than other property in the community? The shift from public to private ownership supports the more residential use of this parcel, and the uses permitted in FAR 3 are more compatible with the existing residential uses around this parcel. And last question, in the case of down zoning, which is the changing of a zone district from a higher or more intensive use to a lower or less intensive use, does the proposed zoning allow for the property owner a reasonable use of the property? The rezone will create greater potential to subdivide this parcel in accordance with the Cook County subdivision ordinance. That's all I have.
Thank you, Neva. Would the applicants like to add anything to the narrative? If so, step forward and state your name and address for the record.
Clay Johnson, little on Devil's Track.
We do need you to step to the microphone.
Clay Johnson, 477 South Shore Drive.
Skyler Johnson, 934 Devil Track Road. I think Neva did great. If you guys have any questions for us, otherwise I don't have anything to add.
At this point, we'll open it to the public if anyone wishes to comment on this application. Hearing none, we'll close it to the public and discuss as a board and ask questions if needed. Jeff, why don't you start?
I agree with all the things that Neva listed. I did have a question. This property then potentially is eligible for the residential open space overlay because of its adjacency to Devil Track Road?
Mm-hmm. Yep, it is within the half mile from the Devil Track Road. So if it was rezoned to FAR 3, it could be eligible. Again, that is a totally different, separate rezone request, and that's why I didn't dig into those weeds.
Yeah, but I mean, if someone wanted to, they could do that in the future. Okay. That was just my, not a concern, just as I was looking at that map, it's like, oh, now, here's that piece of state land, now suddenly it's private and it fits into that corridor. So, yeah, I really don't have any issues with this. I mean, it makes sense.
Courtney?
Yep, I had the same question about that overlay, so thank you.
Yeah, I think considering, as we've been urged to, the inventory of land, this spot actually makes quite a bit of sense to me in its location to Grand Marais and sort of the Devil Track neighborhood up there. I think that's a spot that makes sense. You got the general store up there. There's already a fair amount of density around the lake. I'm comfortable with it.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with all the things that have been said before. I'm very comfortable with it as well.
Yeah, I don't see any problems.
I'm familiar with the land. I think potential subdivision, that land would really support it well. It'd really be a good fit. Yeah, I don't see any issues. I think it makes a lot of sense in that neighborhood. So, with that, are we, with zoning,
We don't need
there's
any
nothing else. We're
conditions.
just looking for a vote.
There is no conditions. It is just that either, gets adopted with the rezone change or it does not. But findings are still important.
Jeff commented, do the rest of us agree with staff's findings?
Yes.
I do.
Yep.
With that, I'd call for a vote, or a motion, I mean, sorry.
I move that in acceptance of staff's findings, that we recommend to the county commissioners to approve this rezoning request.
I would second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None?
Why don't you guys know what the timing of that next meeting sounds like? You don't need to attend it.
With that, we'd look for a motion to adjourn the planning commission.
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Can I blow my nose really quickly?
Yes.
Before we go?
Take a break here before we start the Board of Adjustment.
And I'll move to the back.
Wait till the stream is off, though.